Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy, sounds like he's probably in his early 40s, and he shares his story about events that started about 20 years ago when he met the gal that became his wife when he was 21 years old. You're going to see in the story, guys, that this guy didn't get a whole lot of attention from girls when he was younger, so when he started blooming, if you will, 21, when the hot girl here started paying attention to him, it went to his head. And because he didn't have the knowledge he has today, put up with a whole lot of BS from her, rushed into a relationship, rushed into a marriage, and let her convince him not to have any sex 2 years before they got married. And to no surprise, the marriage was a living hell. However, the guy, after going through a hell of a lot, does learn and eventually handle things accordingly. And now, fast forward 20 years later, he's doing great. He's married to a gal that treats him very well, watches his content, he's happy. And his ex, and the gal who was a smoking hottie back in the day, let's just say her life isn't so good. Let's just say her life is actually quite predictable. And definitely he has the last laugh here. So I thought it would be ever going to go over here, guys, that you'll get to enjoy me watching and listening to me smack the shit out of this guy more times than I can count, and learning what not to do and why it's so important. Oh, I forgot. This chick had tons of red flags when he started dating her. Tons. That any of you guys would have known and picked out and would have headed for the hills if with the knowledge you've gained here. But a lot of things to learn from this about not rushing in relationships, working on yourself, not buying into this, we're not going to hook up for 2 years type of thing. And obviously paying attention to red flags and running for the hills when you see those red flags. And of course, handled right, a guy can turn his life around and have the last laugh. So it's definitely a good story here. He says, SSM. When I was 21 years old, I got a part-time job at a retail store in the mall, where I was the only male employee. There were several other very attractive girls working there, and they would flirt with me. Sounds like my very first job at Domino's Pizza when I was 16. I was like the only dude there. And yes, they'd flirt with me. I was very happy to have that job, might add, being paid the whopping $4.50 an hour, as the minimum wage in Pennsylvania was $4.25 at the time. It was my first step towards independence. As a dude who didn't get a ton of attention in high school, this felt great. As I was still dating my first girlfriend from high school at the time, and the flirting I was doing behind her back was not cool at all. I was getting attention I never got before, and did not handle it very well. Yep, that's usually how it works. After I started talking outside of work with one of the girls who worked at the store, the assistant manager then all of a sudden started showing major interest in me as well. We will call her Rachel. She would invite me to meet her out for drinks, and we quickly started talking too. At this point, I'm talking to two girls while dating my girlfriend. Smack! Not cool, man. It's one thing having conversations, but I know the expression talking to, which essentially is laying the ground to be doing other things. Yeah, break up with your girl then, dude. Ain't cool. But karma's coming after him, and you'll see pretty quick. Again, not cool on my part, neither is what's yet to come. Rachel and I kissed one night after work, and soon afterwards we started having sex. So this is your boss, assistant manager, whatever you say, assistant manager there. That's how it works. All the other girls like you, so then she's like, well, I guess I have to like him too. She constantly pressured me to break things up with the other girl from the store, and also with my girlfriend, and to date her exclusively. Like, you were hooking up with me that quickly? Nah. It was like she thrived on the competition. Ding, ding, ding. So that's what I did. Broke things up with the other girls, and Rachel and I started dating officially. Smack! If she was your boss, and she was hooking up with you, and hooked up with you like on the first get-together, that says a lot about her, and also the fact that obviously she enjoyed the competition, and she got you that easily. But let me guess, she's hot, so you couldn't resist. The attention made you lose your mind. Well, now she knows she has power and control over you. So that's what I did. Broke things off with the others, and Rachel and I started dating officially. I jumped in head first on the rush, but was just living in the moment and looked for that epic movie romance that you talk about. Smack! Nonsense. The chemistry and sex were very strong, as a lot of these stories seem to go. Well, I'm sure it was. The first red flags I ignored involved her past. Number one, she was kind of easy in high school. No, I never would have figured that. The fact that she was hooking up with an employee, which I'm certainly is against the work handbook, but it's in the Hobag handbook. And also, she jumped your bones like the first night. Shocker. She confessed to sort of being with like 15 guys. Keep in mind, we were both only 21 at this time. She went to school about 30 minutes away from me. But I didn't know her or anyone from her school prior, so I was oblivious to the true nature of her past. She told you 15, I guarantee is more like 50. Easily. And I don't know about you guys, but I knew this even back then. I've been like, see ya. I wouldn't have got involved with her. I also been dumb enough to hook up with the manager. There were some things, when I was younger, I was definitely ahead of the game. In other areas, I was definitely behind. She blamed this behavior on her father being absent from her life. She had a terrific stepdad, but always had this chip on her shoulder about her real dad. Daddy issues. Shocker. This leads to red flag number 2. Her mother. Her mom constantly victimized her, saying that her dad was a deadbeat womanizer. Constant negativity towards her dad and constant victimhood. Total enabler. Funny thing is, I actually met the dad, and he was a really nice guy and normal guy. He was happily married to a beautiful woman and had kids with her. My theory is he couldn't stand Rachel's mom, who was truly an unbearable person. This constant enablement of the daddy issues was a monstrous red flag that should have stopped me in my tracks, and I will get back to Rachel's mom later. Yeah, but you were in love. You were just so, again, you weren't getting much attention from girls in high school, and now you're starting to get attention from girls you work with, and this chick, the hot manager, the boss, all that, even though you were the same age. Yeah, you can't get enough of this. And you're totally ignoring all the red flags because she's a hottie. The next red flag, her best friend. This best friend seemed to have a different guy that she was dating every other week, and of course, it was always the guy's fault when things didn't work out. She looked like Carmen Electra back then, so it was easy for her to get the attention. Carousel Rider in disguise, always playing the innocent, sweetheart card while running through guys like a running back. Rachel's other friend and roommate once ditched her boyfriend while on spring break to go hook up with a dude that was on a TV show while her boyfriend was on the trip with her. Classic group of friends, SSM. How many times have I tell you guys, pay attention to who your girl hangs out with? If her friends are a bunch of hobags, carousel riders, whatever you call it, guarantee you they're going to rub off on her. And if somehow, some way they haven't as of yet, they will eventually. These are all these signs right there. And I also told you always watch out for her family, what they're like and all that. It's right here. I don't say these things just to hear myself talk, because it's the truth. There were also some orbiters when Rachel and I first started talking. One guy who worked at another store in the same mall would text her asking when they were going to hang out and that he wanted to do it with her. She admitted to doing oral stuff with him before we met, but insisted that's all that happened. This is making me think of the scene in Clerks. Y'all know what I'm talking about here? She would reply to him, "I have a boyfriend, leave me alone," and show me her phone, which I took as a sign that she was cutting him off, but he refused to just go away. He eventually did after 2 or 3 times of this happening. I'm sure a lot more happened than she's mentioning, and quite frankly, the fact that he had his you-know-what in her mouth would be enough for me. Anyway, her past made me insecure, but I thought I'd be the one to change her. Smack. White knight syndrome, huh? I'm gonna save this girl. I'm gonna fix her. Make her trust men again. I'm gonna save this damsel in distress. Many men have gone down this path and been burned pretty badly. The first 9 months were awesome. Great sex, personalities clicked, and we had a lot of fun. Then we got engaged. Smack. 9 months, you're with this broad and you got engaged, the same chick that has all these red flags and issues, again, because it's so magical. It's like a movie. Yay. And how old are you at this point? 22 years old? What the hell's the matter with you? I know you know this now, but I gotta say it. He says, smack, I know. She was constantly pressuring me into an engagement, saying how perfect we were together and that she didn't want anyone else. Well, tough shit, honey. I'm a young guy building my career. I'm just getting started in life. You can wait. And if you don't like that, okay, you can go out with other guys. That would probably turn her on. After she sulked a little bit. I wasn't rich by any means, so it's not like she was using me for resources. She actually made more money than me. Doesn't matter. You were going to be her guy that she could have her wedding with and put a ring on her finger and have her magical day and be a Mrs. You. Meanwhile, hooking up with all the other guys she likes. So it isn't always just about resources immediately. It's about having that stable guy in her life while she can go off ride the carousel. And she probably had your number, knowing darn well that in time you will make something yourself and she can benefit from your resources. This is when things really started to take shape. And wait till we get to this part, guys. And I want to remind you, like I said earlier, and he said, they're hooking up like crazy. He was really roped in by the SCX. Well, watch this. At this point, she said she wanted to wait until marriage to have any more SCX. She pulled the religion card on me. Keep in mind, we've been having SCX very consistently up until this point. Oh, and our wedding date was almost 2 years away. So she pressured you to get in a relationship with her, break up with your girlfriend, and you comply. Then she pressured you eventually to get engaged, propose to her, which you complied. This is giving her certainty that she can keep giving demands to you, and you'll keep complying. And look, now we have this. No SCX until we get married. What a great power play. And any guy that goes along with it is a fucking moron. And you, my friend, we're a fucking moron for going along with this. But, I know you know now, and you're brave enough to share your story, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. I know you know this. But it has to be addressed. It has to be said. So guys don't do this themselves, and future guys will. This is the oldest trick in the book to rush a marriage, for a gal to have power over a guy. From this point, all we did was fight. She started a new job 40 miles away, and her college was 30 miles in the other direction. I went to a different school. Needless to say, our time together took a hit. When we did hang out, all I wanted to do was have SCX, but she wouldn't budge. For a 22-year-old like this was like torture. Then break up with her. What the hell's the matter with you? But she had your number. She knew you weren't going anywhere. She knew that she was probably the hottest girl you ever had, and roped you in with all the SCX because you knew what she was going to do to you in bed, and keep you just waiting. What the fuck, man? There are guys smacking you all over the world right now. Smacking younger you. For the record, we did have it one time during the whole 20-month engagement, only because her friends basically forced her to give it to me on my birthday. Not only was there no SCX, but no other types of oral activities as well. I was getting nothing intimately from my 22-year-old fiance. I stupidly thought this would all get better once we got married. You know how many guys are laughing at that they've been married and thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get more sex after I get married. And that this was all being caused by the stress of working and being in college full-time plus the distance. What a load of crap. Senior year college, for her birthday, she said that she was going out to the bar with her best friend and also her cousin. Oh, what could go wrong? The kicker is that she did not want me to come. It was some kind of girls-only thing together. Her cousin's a guy. This pissed me off, so that night I decided to log into our AT&T account to check her calls and texts. To my surprise, there were dozens of calls and texts to a number I didn't recognize. I *69 called this number. Wow, I haven't heard that in a while. The old *69 before caller ID. And a voicemail came up. Hey, this is Ben. He was one. Oh, you said that's not *69. *67 to hear the voicemail. Whatever. It said, hey, this is Ben. He was one of her coworkers. Oh, so her cousin that was coming along is actually one of her coworkers. I never felt threatened by him because he wasn't good looking at all. This infuriated me, as she was clearly meeting this dude out, and now it all made sense as to why she didn't want me there. I barely slept that night, and when I went over the next day for her birthday, I asked to see her cell phone. Her mom gave me a look like I was being some kind of psycho, and lo and behold, her texts were wiped. Of course they were. Why are you not breaking up with her? I mean, how much shit does she have to throw at you for you to finally grow a pair and self-respect? But she knows this dude ain't going anywhere. At least that's her perception of you at the time. I asked why she'd been texting Ben, and she said that he was meeting them out and needed to coordinate where to meet. To which I asked, well, then why couldn't I come? She had some BS answer, insisted nothing happened, and I stupidly let it slide. Smack. Of course you did. And of course she had a BS answer. She blamed the text being wiped as her clearing her phone's memory so it would work better. Oh, what perfect timing. I promised a little context on her mom. Aside from the constant enabling she did with Rachel about her absent father, she was just as nasty and negative person in general. Every one of her friends and family that met her had bad things to say about her. She was very active in their local church, but the funny thing was, 95% of the people of the church hated her. She gossiped constantly about people from church, Rachel's high school classmates, her family, etc. She also took the religion thing to a stereotypical level, by being completely against drinking to the absolute extreme. She would throw a fit if people were drinking around her. Here are two examples. Was she an alcoholic? Therefore, she couldn't have people drink around her, that type of thing. And this is going to become your mother-in-law. You think it's a very smart idea, marrying a gal who's not giving you any for 2 years and clearly sneaking around, and her mother's a freaking nut job. What I tell you about paying attention to the girl's mother and family? One year we went to the mountains on vacation. It was Rachel, her parents, myself, and her cousin and his wife, both of whom were in their late 20s. We all rented a house that Rachel's parents booked, and her mom left us strict rules to not have alcohol in the house. Again, we were all 21 plus on summer vacation. Rachel's cousin ignored her and brought some beer for us to drink on the back porch at night. Rachel's mom found out and threw a temper tantrum, screaming, yelling, slamming doors, saying she paid for the rental and that we were disrespecting her rules. Well, yeah, she has rules, and okay, fine, I get that it's her house, her rules, or in this situation, but still, she's a wacko. The second time she threw a fit over alcohol was at the wedding. She refused to pay for alcohol and did not want to be present. Any present. She wanted to deprive the 200 guests of alcohol at the wedding because she didn't want people from church to be around people that were drinking. So my parents and I decided to buy the alcohol anyway. No way we were having a dry wedding. When she found out, she absolutely freaked out. She called the venue and threatened to cancel the wedding, and this was like 2 weeks before the date. And you think your parents are probably like, why are you marrying this broad? Really? Back to this story. Fast forward a couple months when I surprised Rachel at work. I noticed a customer leaning over the counter and talking low while seeming to have a cocky smile on his face. He was a total Chad, by the way. She was smiling too and talking back to him in what appeared to be a flirty kind of way. She didn't know I was there, so when I approached her, I angrily asked what just happened and why that guy was leaning over the counter flirting with her. Oh, he's my brother. I knew I had a brother. That's probably her reason. She snapped back and said nothing happened, and that he was telling her his account number for the transaction, and I didn't want anyone else to hear him. Again, I let it slide. Smack! Meanwhile, you're not getting any, man. Guys, do you see why I do this channel? Do you see why I do everything I can to encourage guys to improve themselves, self-improvement, build their self-esteem, their self-worth, and that way then people like this can't take advantage of them, at least in the relationship department. And that self-worth can be applied to other areas of your life. But otherwise, if you think that I'm worthless and I can't get anything else and I have to accept whatever I take, this is the shit that's going to happen to you. As I should have known, nothing improved with Rachel after we got married. The SCX life I thought would come immediately, blazing back, became a once every 2 week event. And even then, it felt like pulling teeth to get her to do it. Let me guess. No more multiple positions and freaky experimentation and oral and all that. You're getting the basic starfish SCX, and she is about as enthused to do that as you get the point. As a 23-year-old who just gone through 20 months without getting any, this was terrible. Dude, you were out of your freaking mind. There had to be somebody else telling you that you were nuts agreeing to this. Not only that, but some of the S-word activities that we used to do before the engagement were now off the table. What'd I tell you? She actually cried one time when I told her I wanted oral, something we used to do back in the good old days. This all pissed me off to no end, and we constantly fought about the SCX. She constantly used the excuse that she was too tired from work, and she tried to make me feel like an a-hole for not understanding this. Let me tell you something. When a woman is totally hot for you, I don't care how tired she is. She's going to make time to see you, be with you, and certainly have a roll in the hay with you. And if she's hot for you and wants you, there is very little she won't do in the sack for you. So this is all bullshit. Fast forward about 2 years of a sexless marriage, and Rachel all of a sudden began pressuring me into having a baby. Funny thing was, the sex frequency never changed. Still a fight, yet she was now claiming that she wanted a baby. Made no sense. I kept saying I wasn't ready because we weren't financially set up yet. Yeah, you're being the smart one here. But there's a reason why she wanted to have a baby, no doubt, because either she probably thought she was pregnant or another way to lock you down. She also decided she wanted to get in a better shape. Her co-worker's husband owned a gym and offered to be her personal trainer at a discounted rate. Oh, I'm sure he did. And since she was friends with his wife. I was uneasy about this as I had an underlying trust issues with her based on the past. But I didn't feel threatened by this guy. Smack! Oh, well, you're about to. What I didn't consider were the other guys at the gym. She came home one time after training and admitted to me that there was a guy at the gym that was flirting with her, and she not only didn't stop, but that she actually liked it. And there you go, talking about other guys, your competition. He knew she was married too. This crushed me, and I left the house for the day to gather my thoughts. Well, what we've been thinking about is divorcing this jackass. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched our cell phone plan like a hawk, but no calls or texts to any strange numbers. She also said the flirting had stopped and that she was sorry. Yeah, I'm sure. I bet. She then started taking her phone everywhere, in the bathroom, etc. She used to leave her phone all over the house, not anymore. I knew something was going on, but couldn't figure out how, until I noticed her Facebook habits. There was a little green icon that would light up when the person was online. I started to notice that Rachel was constantly logged on and off. Literally every 2 minutes she'd log on, stay on for a minute, and then log off, then back on. I tell you a million times, when they're guarding their phone like crazy and all that, it tells you everything. This would go on for hours, even while she was at work. I asked her about this, and she said it must have been a glitch with Facebook or something. Yeah, that must have been it. I didn't believe it, and was convinced that she was using Facebook to communicate with this guy. We will call him Steve. I continued to pressure her on this, and she eventually said that Steve started messaging her on Facebook, but she was just logging in to clear out the messages out. Well, it must have been a lot of messages because you were always on. When I threatened to message Steve to tell him to F off and stop messaging my wife, she urged me not to do it, saying that he would go away. Honey, why are you so concerned? Because you love me so much, don't you? Also, her profile picture was no longer a picture of us. Suddenly wants to get in better shape. Changing the Facebook picture of you guys together. You put all these things together. I mean, dude, how much shit does she have to do or say for you to wake up? But again, when you're the guy that didn't get a lot of attention from girls when you're younger, and all of a sudden you're 21 and then you're starting to get the attention, and a smoking hot girl ropes you in, and you don't have a lot of self-worth, this is the shit that can happen. I mean, it's always going to happen, but it can happen. A couple weeks later, she went home to a music fest with her coworkers. Oh, I'm sure nothing went wrong there. When she got home, she claimed that she ran into Steve there. Oh, what a coincidence. Keep in mind, this was a huge music festival that had 10,000 people, but she just happened to run into the guy who'd been flirting with her. Yeah, right. At this point, I went off, and she tried to console me by telling me nothing was going on and offered to give me a BJ. At this point, I mentally prepared for the worst, which came within a week of the event. Well, did you get a BJ? I'm sure everybody's wondering that. One night after work, she claimed that she was going out with her coworker to a bar. I didn't believe this, so I decided to test her. I said, cool, I'll swing by later and grab a drink with you guys. She went off. No, you need to trust me. If you come here, we are done. I will call this D-Day, and I was right. I watched her cell phone log the whole evening. Back then, iMessages would show as text in the recent usage, which was in real time. So I could see everything, 20 plus texts and a couple calls to the coworker that she was supposedly with that night. Now, why would she be texting and calling the friends she was with? Bars here closed at 2:30 in the morning, and when I didn't immediately hear from her, I drove down there. The place was empty. It's now 3:30 a.m., and I'm in the parking lot of an empty bar. She stopped texting and wouldn't pick up her phone. Gee, what is she up to? At 5:30 a.m., I get a call from Rachel saying that she was drunk and went to her coworker's place to sleep it off instead of drunk driving. You know how many stories I've done with the same BS excuse for going to some guy's house? I was drinking. He was so kind to let me sleep over and make sure I didn't drive drunk. The same fucking thing all the time. The second she got home, I grilled her. Did she offer you another BJ? She She claimed she was texting her friend because they couldn't find her phone at the bar, so they were trying to ping it and find it. I called bullshit, because there were texts sent to and received from that number, as well as connected phone calls. She insisted nothing happened, but I told her she was a liar, that I put up with way too much shit from her for years, and I was done. Thank the Lord. It's about goddamn time, my friend. She then admitted to, wait for it, having SCX with Steve, and it was unprotected. Now we're back to the whole, remember she wanted to have a kid type of thing? I bet he got a BJ. She said she didn't want to be married anymore. We never were married. Legally we were, but we never certainly ever acted like it. This guy was a total Chad, too, and what I used to call a baseball douche. He happened to be a former MLB player, too, so I'm not sure why she's drawn to the thrill of locking someone down like that. Please email me who this real MLB player was. I won't reveal here on YouTube, but I gotta know, man. I finally reached my breaking point, which should have come years before. I immediately started the paperwork for divorce and contacted an attorney. I also texted her friend that covered for her at the bar and told her what a garbage piece of shit she is for enabling my wife to cheat and covering for her. Like she cared. Since the cat was out of the bag, Rachel now began openly texting this dude Steve as they transitioned away from Facebook Messenger. Hundreds of texts to and from every day, as well as phone calls. This was all happening as she insisted that she was cutting things off with him, and that I should give her another chance, as if she didn't think I could see an open communication with him. So now she's into the give me another chance thing, because she's thinking maybe there is a possibility this guy may leave. She even cornered me one time with her pastor from church. A few weeks after this all went down, I came home from work to find Rachel sitting at the kitchen table with a pastor. He asked if I was open to forgiving Rachel, and she was very sorry for what she did, and wanted to work on fixing the marriage instead of going the divorce route. I would say, sir, pastor, such and such, please leave. She was probably effing him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I angrily said she's not sorry. She openly texts and calls him every day, including today. Hundreds of texts every week. She doesn't want to fix anything, and this is so insulting. To cover for her actions and avoid accountability, I found out Rachel was telling people that I was controlling and that she felt trapped. Of course you're being labeled as the bad guy to justify her behavior, and I bet you she convinced herself she had to cheat on you because she was so trapped and controlled when you were anything but that. I imagine she had to soften the embarrassment of being the church leader's daughter and being a cheater. Insert women in accountability joke here. Yeah, women in accountability. Stupidly, I started casually dating someone while all this was going on. I felt like nobody wanted me, so it was nice to get some attention. It was nothing serious, but it was good to have some fun. This chick also had red flags, but my friends helped point them out, and I knew this would have been a temporary fling. Dude, you just can't be trusted with women at this point in your life. As expected, as you've seen many times in your channel, Rachel now sensed the competition and tried to seduce me back several times. This is why, guys, for many reasons, I say you wait a long time to get exclusive with a girl. Many reasons. Get to know what she's like, all that, get past the honeymoon period, make her work to get you. Because when people have to really work to get something, whatever that is, they're going to definitely appreciate it more. And women may claim they don't like competition, but they like competition. And so the second this girl sees you're done and you're dating other chicks and wrapping things up, all of a sudden, I'm willing to bet you that she's willing to give you BJs and any other fucked up shit you could possibly want her to do to get you back. She wasn't staying in the house very much, but a few times we both happened to be there, she would corner me in the house and try to get me to have SCX with her. This is a pattern with women. They need that competitive thrill, and it seems to be a sport to them, especially when they can screw over another female. And as Al Bundy once said, don't try to understand women. Women understand women, and they hate each other. Remember, this is exactly how Rachel and I met when she pried me away from her competition back then. I'm proud of myself, though, because I shot her down every time she tried. Good, bro. I didn't want to risk getting her pregnant or catching an STD, especially since, in addition to the guy from the gym, I also noticed texts from her ex back before we met. She was communicating with him again, so who knows how many other dudes she was hooking up with. Exactly. And she's reaching out to her ex. What I tell you, they always come back. The dissolution process itself went very smoothly. We agreed on everything up front. Sold the house quickly, and I ended up moving away and haven't seen or communicated with her at all since. It's been 10 years. As for what happened to Rachel, none of this will surprise you guys. Wait, watch this. She and the baseball douche broke up soon afterwards. Then she ended up getting pregnant by one of her employees that she managed at her new job. They got married because of the pregnancy and then divorced soon after. She's now in her third marriage before 40 years old. Some stories just write themselves. Anybody could have predicted that. After this, I did the casual dating thing for a while and have many more insane stories that I can share. If you and your audience want to hear them, it can be an update consisting of several mini stories, all of which are very entertaining. Send them your way, bro. Guys, if you want to hear more of his crazy stories, request in the comment section. My journey to being our pill was long, so I might as well help others shorten their journey, and we can all get a good laugh as well. Fast forward to the present, I'm now happily married to a woman who treats me 1,000 times better than Rachel ever did. You see what becoming our pill can do, or should I say, the purple pill, as they say. They take the R pill knowledge, but they're still relationship guys. Imagine that. We've been together for 8 years, and she watches some of your videos with me. If she watches my videos and doesn't think I'm a scumbag, then that's pretty good. Anyway, I hope the plethora of mistakes I've made here can resonate with your audience. As men, we should never be afraid to break things off and prioritize our dignity and self-respect. I was worried I wouldn't get another girl as attractive as her. So it kept me trapped in this situation. Cutting things off always hurts. There's no way around it. But it's better to get over the pain with now than start the healing process. Thanks, SSM. Best of luck with your move to Florida. Bro, that's a hell of a story. And I'm glad you learned after all that bullshit. And I think it's hilarious now that she's divorced multiple times, by 40 years old, probably has a bunch of kids from different daddies. Of course, that's how it rolls. So guys, as I've said many times before, you must do everything to work on yourself so you're not roped in by people like this. There are people like this who are more than willing to take advantage of you. Milk it for everything it's worth. There's a lot of things to learn about this guy's story, but thank the Lord, in the end, he finally got some self-respect and balls. I mean, God Almighty, rushing into the relationship, rushing into the engagement, agreeing not having SCX for 2 years, or almost 2 years, and then thinking that, oh, it'll get better when we get married. And then you're getting next to nothing and the bare minimum. Shocker. Anybody could have told you this. Now, if you had watched shows like this back in the day, you probably wouldn't want to hear what someone like me saying here. So by you sharing this story here to the guys out there that might one day end up in a situation like yours, hopefully they'll remember this story and know what to do. So you're doing a service by sending your story, and I appreciate you taking the time. And you're going to get shit in the comment section, as I'm sure you're well aware, but I respect you doing it. It ain't always easy writing into this channel because you never know what kind of fucking mood I'm in, and I'm in a good mood today, so I wasn't that harsh on you. But I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you have a wife that treats you great, and remember all the things you've learned in this channel and apply them when necessary, and don't ever be, it's like, I say this all the time, guys have to really go through a lot of shit, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of humiliation, embarrassment, until they wake up and see reality. And this guy has went through a lot. But if you learned all this by your early 20s, then you are light years ahead of most guys out there. I did a story yesterday, a guy wasn't until his late 20s they figured this out, and now he's badass. A lot of you guys saw that story from yesterday. It's the story with the girl pushing back the car. I'm sure you guys all saw that. Most of you saw that story. It's popular. But now you can then apply these things to your life and live the life you want. And you know, I guess actually you're probably, if she's 40 now, you're probably about 40 years old. So I got to be curious if you have any kids. If you have kids, my friend, and you have a son one day, make sure he learns this stuff so he doesn't make the same mistake that you did. But anyhow, bro, I'm glad you're doing well, and I appreciate your time. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. I'm going to think about this. And if you got a good story to share, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I will when I get the chance. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.